Hello! We have reached the conclusion of the 2023 International Booker Prize season, and I am very excited because tonight one of these 6 books is going to be declared this year's winner. And I'm also a bit nervous for reasons which I'll explain shortly, but you may have noticed that I am a bit dressed up, and that is because I feel very lucky. I have been invited to tonight's ceremony, so I'm going to see the announcement of the winner live, and you're going to see my live reaction to whichever of these books wins. So here's my invitation. It's taking place at Sky Gardens in London, which is a beautiful venue. So I'm going to take you along and film what I can of the venue and the ceremony and the party and the dinner and the live announcement. So that is going to be very cool. And it has been so wonderful following this year's prize. I mean, I always say that it's not really the winner that matters to me. It's more about discovering lots of new books, having lots of in-depth discussions about all of these different titles. So if you followed along with this year's prize and read some or all of these books, or just been along for the ride and been watching my videos discussing all these different books, thank you for joining in. It's really been a pleasure, and I've discovered some new favorite reads through this, so it's been a really wonderful experience. And I've also thought much more dynamically about some of the books, that didn't work so well for me. And so looking at this year's shortlist, now I've made videos about each of these individual titles, and I'll put links to those below if you want to know my full thoughts about any of these books. But just looking at them very broadly, my 2 favorite books from the list are Stillborn and Boulder. So I'm really hoping to see one of these books win tonight. If I was forced to make a decision, I don't know, it's really difficult, but I would probably pick Boulder as the winner, but I'll be so thrilled if Stillborn wins. Now, I also really found really interesting Standing Heavy and Time Shelter. Both of these books were so fascinating to read and think about, really showed me a different perspective. There were some aspects to both of them that didn't work as well for me, but I'd still be glad to see either of these books win. And I have to say, Whale and The Gospel According to the New Worlds are books that just didn't work for me personally. And so if they win, yeah, I will be a bit disappointed. And of course, I am wrapped up in the excitement to see which book will actually win. But again, it doesn't matter so much to me which of these books wins, because it's just been such a pleasurable experience reading along with all of these books. And I've seen supporters of both of these books. It could very well be one of these as well. And I am prepared for whatever to happen, because in all of my years of following different book prizes, I have seen so many different results. Sometimes my favorite book wins the prize. Sometimes my least favorite book has won the prize. So it's really a potluck of what is going to happen, because all these books have been shortlisted. You never know which way the judges are going to go. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I also want to say that Birthday Party and Is Mother Dead were also excellent books that have been longlisted, and which I feel like were both really insightful, incredible reads that I found so enthralling and fascinating, structurally really interesting, but also really emotional and have strong messages as well, as do a lot of the books on the shortlist. So let's go along to the ceremony. I'm going to film what I can, and really tonight is just all about celebrating books and having fun, so this should be a great experience. Luckily, it's a beautiful evening here in London, which means I don't have to bring a jacket, I didn't have to bring an umbrella, and I can walk part of the way. So you can see St. Paul's there just behind me. I've just arrived at the venue, Sky Garden. As you can see, there's lots of amazing views from up here. I've just got a glass of bubbly and chatted to a few people, and I've been told that all of the authors are here, even Maryse Conde, which I wasn't expecting because she is in such a later stage of life. But I'm gonna go around and mingle and have a few more drinks and chat to some people. I really can't be trusted anywhere, because guess who immediately spelt sauce from a canapé on his shirt? So I've managed to clean myself up, and now I'm gonna go find my table.
She's very good.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the International Booker Prize 2023. And in the languages of the books on our shortlist, bonsoir, hola, buenas noches, annyeonghaseyo, and strasti. This prize shines a light on the world's best fiction translated into English.
Oh wow! I thought there was something wrong with that. And then it turns out...
We have just had dessert, which was in the shape of an apple, but it was not an apple, it was actually cream and chocolate. Really delicious, and the winner is going to be announced very soon. Exciting!
Welcome to you, but also a warm welcome to the world who are watching online, joining us live now for this announcement of the International Booker Prize. So hello world, that camera. Before we get to our final announcement, look at all the photographers waiting. I'm going to do a list first. We need to remind ourselves about this year's shortlisted novels. So, Boulder by Eva Baltasar, translated from Catalan by Julia Sanches. Two debut novels on our shortlist, Whale by Myeong-Kwan, translated from Korea by Cheon. To the first ever wife-husband author translated to you now, The Gospel According to the New World by Maryse Conde, translated from French by Philcox. Maryse claims this is her swan song. The second of this year's debut novels on the shortlist is Standing Heavy by GauZ, translated by Wynne. The Shelter by Georgi Gospodinov, translated from Bulgarian by Rodel. And Stillborn, Guadalupe, translated from Spanish by Rosalind Harvey. That's all 6 novels in contention for this year's prize. Thank you to all our authors, translators, publishers and agents. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Huge congratulations on all your shortlisted works. Okay, it's time. Let's do it. Ready to award this year's trophy, which, incidentally, what you're seeing there is a symbolic trophy. The real ones are made of pewter, and there'll be one for each, the author and the translator. Would you please welcome the chair of the Booker Prize Foundation's board, Baltasar, and to announce the winner of the International Booker Prize 2023, a huge round of applause Nobel Prize-winning novelist Leila Slimani.
Hi everyone, thank you very much. I'm very happy and very moved to be here with you this evening. Many months ago I was asked to be the chair of the International Booker Prize, and this was both a great honor and a surprise to me. After all, English is not my mother tongue. I grew up in Morocco where I spoke Arabic and French, so excuse my French accent. An honor, yes, because it is a prestigious prize that celebrates literature in all its diversity and pays tribute to translators, the people who have given me the access to literature from around the world. And a challenge too, because as soon as we started receiving books, I asked myself, how do I judge a novel? How to establish the most democratic and lively dialogue possible with my fellow judges? I am a novelist. That means that I sometimes spend several days in a row in my pajamas, torturing myself about a character, a scene, a historical question. I am a novelist, and I know how hard it is to write a novel. How can I judge the work of my fellow writers? But as soon as we started, I became what I am at my core, which defines me even better than a novelist, a reader. And this is what is both beautiful and cruel about literature. When a novel is successful, it is self-evident. It conquers hearts and minds. It imposes itself. A jury is a very complex thing, the alchemy of which is very subtle. And I would like to say that it was for me an exceptional literary and human experience to be able to discuss with such brilliant readers. I would like to pay tribute to their kindness, their sense of humor, their humanity. What could be more wonderful than to talk about literature in joy? So thank you, Paru. Thank you, Tuan, Frederic, and William. I feel very privileged to have been able to feed myself with your culture, your sensitivity, and your passion. We did not seek consensus at all costs. On the contrary, everyone fought for the books they believed in. We come from different worlds, we have different tastes, but I think we succeeded in establishing a dialogue where freedom of tone dominated, where it was not a question of being the most intelligent. It was a beautiful human experience, yes, because you learn a lot from talking about a book with someone, and you reveal yourself by defending the novels you like and criticizing the ones you hate. It is our passion for literature that guided us, and the desire to share our discoveries with readers. We wanted them to be moved, surprised, shaken, haunted by a story and by the singular voice of an author. I think that this prize reflects what we all aspire to: diversity, stories told by different people from different places. It offers us new heroes, but also on a literary level, new voices and a new way of dealing with language. I believe that the essence of literature is to escape any determination, any statement that stabilizes or realizes it. Literature is always to come, always to be invented. It is never already there, never finished. It is this diversity that we wanted to defend in our long list. Together, we wanted to promote literary ambition, panache, originality, and of course, through this, the talent of translators who have been able to convey all this with great skill. So congratulations again, and thank you to all long-listed 26 authors and translators. I may disappoint you, but there were no shouting or bloody arguments during the deliberation. There was some heartache, of course, when we had to start eliminating books. But I think I speak for all the judges when I say that I am proud of our shortlist. I think it's a very sexy list, a list of remarkable variety, where readers will find poetry, fantasy, eroticism, and metaphysics. But we had to make a choice, which was not easy, because we love each of these books so much. We wanted to reward a book that focuses on both the individual and the collective, on what is most intimate and what connects us. A book that questions the world around us, but which, through its language and literary references, is also a universal work. The winner of the International Booker Prize is Time Shelter by
that I thought would stay in the file, unspoken speeches for unreceived awards. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you who believe in literature, because we all do here, I'm honored to be at this high point, both architectural and literary. Thanks to the Booker Foundation for supporting this award for fiction in translation. In times like ours, this is of crucial importance. Thank you to the jury for appreciating a novel about memory and time, the flood of the past, and the weaponization of nostalgia. Thank you to each of the nominees. Your books are wonderful. I have all of them. It was an honor to be together. May everyone read them. Huge thanks to my translator, Angela Rodel, who built this clinic of the past in English. Thank you, Angela. Thanks to everyone who has been part of the journey of this book. Thanks to my Bulgarian publisher, Janet45, who dared to print the book in the first month of the lockdown. Thanks to my UK publishers, Wiedenfeld and Nicholson, Jenny, Lettis, Elizabeth, they are there. And to you, Fede, this is my first book published in the UK. To my agent, Luke Ingram, to the Bulgarian Cultural Institute and the Embassy. Thank you to my parents, who are now rejoicing and crying somewhere in southeast Bulgaria. Bulgarian book nominated for the Booker, so thank you for your braveness to give the award to this. Thank you to my daughter and my wife who are here with me. Thank you to my readers. Thank you to my readers. Tomorrow is the most important Bulgarian holiday, my favorite national holiday. It's the day of the Cyrillic alphabet, 24th of May, the day of writing and language. It's wonderful when letters and language are being celebrated. So I will say one sentence in Bulgarian, the language in which the novel was written. Честит празник. Честито чудо на езика. This novel is personal and political at the same time. In a time of war, writers must stand with their stories on the side of the one under attack, the one fighting for their home and the future of their and our children. When I was growing up, I used to check out books from the library written in the first person. Why? I realized, written in the first person, where the protagonist narrated personally. Why? I realized a little later, because I didn't want the hero to die at the end. As long as you're telling a story, you're still alive. That's what I want, and these words with. As long as we tell our stories and the stories of others, we are still alive. And we keep alive and warm what we tell. Our stories produce life, empathy, and resistance to death and evil. This is the miracle of literature. Thank you, and keep telling your stories.
In Time Shelter, Georgi uses many brilliant metaphors, but uses one especially brilliant metaphor. He talks about the critical deficit of meaning. The world's reserves of sense have been depleted, tapped out, stripped like a mine. And although in the book this image is rather bleak and dystopian, it's been in my mind this past month and week as we've taken the wild ride that is the Booker shortlist. Reading the fantastic novels we share this space with, meeting the other authors and translators, it struck me that the Booker Foundation with this prize is pushing back precisely against this deficit. They're tapping new veins, they're discovering unexpected mother lodes of meaning to replenish worn out worlds and words. And to extend this metaphor, I think this makes the 5 jury members prospectors with headlamps, spelunking through piles of books, wielding pens like pickaxes. So thank you for mining the precious pockets of world literature and translation, and for finding us worthy of excavation among all these other fantastic books. I'm deeply honored and humbled. And of course, thank you, Georgi, entrusting me with your words and for your friendship. Many people confuse you with the narrator of Time Shelter. I suppose that makes me a sort of not so sinister Gaustine, an alter ego from another place in time that pulls you into fantastical schemes, and I hope we have many more hijinks ahead. I also want to thank the Elizabeth Kozlova Foundation, Elizabeth herself and Milena Deleva. We were like 2 kids growing up together. The foundation had just launched when I was taking my first toddling steps as a translator, and I couldn't have asked for a better literary older sister to show me the ropes and both the artistic and practical aspects of how to become a translator. So the champagne is on me in Sozopol in a few short weeks. Of course, I want to thank my family, Victor and Karana, my living dictionaries. There's nothing like a 14-year-old bilingual kid to keep me very humble about how well I speak Bulgarian. I want to thank my parents, who have always supported all of my eccentric impulses, never pressured me to be a lawyer or accountant. I can't imagine there are very many parents who said when their kid was like, I want to go to Bulgaria and study bagpipes. We're like, sure, go ahead. Luckily, the bagpipe phase was mercifully short-lived. The Bulgarian phase, not so much, but I hope they don't regret it. I want to say also thank you to the Fulbright program, which gave me the opportunity to learn Bulgarian and continues to support me to this day in the best job in the world with the best team in the world. And this brings me to my final thanks, which is to all my Bulgarian friends, all the Bulgarian writers I've worked with, the musicians, the teachers, the philosophers, the dancers, the rakia drinkers. Thank you for opening your world to me. It is not always an easy place to inhabit, as Georgi's books makes clear, but nevertheless, I found a true shelter there, a mind shelter, a heart shelter, a soul shelter. And in this refuge, I found some very precious reserves of meaning, and I hope to continue to mine them for a long time ahead. Благодаря много.
So Time Shelter wins the International Booker Prize. You can see the winners there below. They're going to be interviewed by the press. Still a lot of partying going on behind me. Such a fascinating and thought-provoking book. And as I was discussing it with somebody earlier this evening about the way this novel provokes a sense of nostalgia as you're reading it. So even though the characters' experiences are obviously very different from my own, I found myself sifting through my memories and getting such a different perspective on time and experience from the past. It's really interesting how it provokes all of these different feelings, but at the same time I felt very mixed about this book. There were certain aspects of it I wasn't as emotionally connected to the characters as I was in some of the other shortlisted books, but still an absolutely fascinating read, and I'm gonna look forward to discussing it with more people. If you have read this book or if you're interested in reading this book now, please let me know about it. I'd love to know your thoughts about it and of the results in general. But it's been a wonderful celebration, and it's really all about the power of literature and celebrating different books from different parts of the world. And looking out at this wonderful view, you can see St. Paul's down below as I was just approaching it earlier when I was coming up to this party. So yeah, a really great celebration at all. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let me know your thoughts about it. And cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.